In this episode, we're going to talk about impressions from last week. So, Tom, what are your impressions of last week?
Absolutely terrible. I think we played one of the worst games I've seen as a Titans fan because I'm only 20, so I only remember really the past 7 or 8 years, and it was not a good game. I mean, Tannehill was sloppy, couldn't get the ball out in time. A lot of that is due to his offensive line, but at the same time, a lot of the pressure's on the quarterback to bring up those around you, including the offensive line. And there was so many crucial plays that if we had back, I think we really could have maybe stole the game, because that was a game where we were the underdog, even without the Browns having Nick Chubb, and it was just an ugly game. I know, like on a third down, Traylon Burks had a missed open catch on the sideline, for 40 yards. That was a bad one. I mean, Derrick Henry couldn't go anywhere for the first half. He had like -6 yards. It was an ugly game. The only thing that was consistent was our rush defense, and then our passing defense getting absolutely destroyed through the air.
That's the thing that I saw a lot of people talking about. Traylon Burks or Ryan Tannehill's throw was being inaccurate on the plays that Traylon Burks was open, but then he also had several drop catches, and we let up so many sacks. Again, Tannehill does not seem as mobile as he used to, but there's still some time to see if that's the case or it is just the line. And actually, that was the first time where Derrick Henry, in my opinion, if you're a Titans fan, you know he's a second half runner, but he just never, ever got it going. And again, he only got 15 carries, about.
Yeah, but you also, even though he's a second half runner, and I think they should have gave him more carries, you can't do that. You can't keep going to something that's not working, especially when it didn't work 15 times in a row. If there was flashes, maybe a 20-yard run in there, a 30-yard run in there, I think they would start to pick that up, but there was literally nothing to be proud of with that. I think the only time they even got yards was like a bounce to the outside, and it was for like 8 yards on a run, and that was literally it. Apart from that, Derrick Henry went absolutely nowhere, and I think a big part of that is because of the defensive coordinator for the Browns, Jim Schwartz, used to be on the Titans. I'm not familiar with his position, but he was on the Titans in some offensive scheme, so he knows a lot of the things you run, and he knows how to stop Derrick Henry, and clearly he showed it.
And on the 8-yard bounce out to the side that you mentioned by Henry, I was actually watching some film on it, and it was a blown up play. It was because the guard couldn't block. The play got blown up, so he had to bounce it out. That shows Henry's skill, but again, it's like the overall run game last week was atrocious, and yeah, that might have to do with a little bit of inside knowledge with the coaching staff of the Browns. Who was your biggest letdown of last week? And also, what was your, as a Titan fan, proud moment of the week?
Yeah, my biggest letdown, I would have to say, was Derrick Henry, just because we're so used to seeing him even with a bad offensive line. I mean, we've never had a good offensive line except for 2019 in the AFC Championship run. But even the year where he went for 2,000 yards, that was Taylor Lewan tore his ACL like week 3. So, like, he's always had a beat-up offensive line, but he's always made it work. And I guess maybe you could start to see some age playing a factor here where he needs people to clear the way for him. I guess we'll see this week, but I think he's going to be coming in this week pretty angry.
Yeah.
And I would say my biggest win for this week was, once again, that rush defense with Jeffrey Simmons, Autry up front, T.R. Tart. I know he's a little bit hurt last game, but he's doing good. Harold Landry. And Arden Key. I mean, that line is so solid, and I really can't see a running back put up crazy numbers against us, especially because we faced Joshua Kelly, who's Austin Eckler's backup, and he came off like a 100-yard rushing week, came to us, had like 37 yards.
Yeah.
Jamal Williams, a really great back. He had 1,000 yards last year, only got like 46 against us on like 17 carries. I mean, that defensive line is holding up really well. If the defensive pieces behind them, with SMB and Christian Fulton and Roger McCreary, if they can really step up, then I'm not worried about our defense at all.
Yeah, my biggest letdown from last week also was Henry, because like I said, I'm always telling you whenever we're watching the games, oh, we got a lot of time left. Second half back, second half team in general. And that didn't happen, so I was really let down. But I would say my biggest win for the week was SMB, because he had that amazing strip on the sideline to like the out route. I forget what the receiver of the Browns was.
It was Elijah Moore.
Elijah Moore. They threw it to Elijah Moore, and it was a 2-man tackle, but he ripped out the ball. I think this was early in the either first quarter or second quarter. But it was such a good football play, and I feel like every week he's getting better and better. Now, we'll talk about the stats in a little bit. The defensive backs didn't do didn't do well overall. But that was my win. That strip fumble was really a big win for me as a Titans fan. Every week, we're sending out a free newsletter on Saturday so you can be updated on the Tennessee Titans. So if you want to get that newsletter for free, check the link down below or scan this QR code.